particular series. This session will run from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. In case it gets interrupted in between due to any technical reason, please join the meeting again. I'll just take a few moments to share with you our old episodes. We had more than 7 episodes till now from different sectors. We had from advanced software technologies to astronomy, astrophysics. Then we had a very interesting subject of career in parenting itself. Then we have careers in law. We had very interesting session from Prajakti Gokhale on mathematics. Then my dear friend Dr. Udayan Apte and his wife Dr. Pallavi Apte Limbe spoke about career in how to become scientist, career in basic science. And last episode was Mr. Gala on finance management. Thank you very much for supporting this series with your attendance. Today we have Preeti. Mr. Darbe will definitely introduce her. Next session is by Mr. Nitin Bawankoe, who is President at Sales Star TV Network and ex-country head of Google. I once again request all the parents and students to please share questions for him. We are going to release the questions by Tuesday to him, and he's going to answer these questions. Then on 14th June, we have Mr. Abhijit Vaidya. He will talk to us on, again, a new era careers in software industry. And on 21st June, we have very interesting session from Dr. Narendra Kanhe, Principal Bajaj Institute of Technology, Wardha, on dealing with psychology of student, ways of counseling and tackling. I think with this series, we are touching various aspects of new era career, and today's topic is one of them. While we are discussing about this topic, Preeti told me that most of the universities globally and most of the institutions are looking at liberal arts very seriously and making their students aware of those particular concepts. So this will really help you as a parent as well as for your children to develop their career. With this, I hand over the stage now to Mr. Atul Kinikar for starting the program with Pasaidan. Over to you, Atul.
Thank you, Abba. So as our tradition, we start our program with Pasaidan. So I start Pasaidan. आता विश्वात्मके देवे येणे भाग्यज्ञे तोषावे दोषोनी मज द्यावे पसायदान जे खळांची व्यंकटी सांडो तया सत्कर्मी रतिवाढो भूता परस्परे पडो मैत्र जीवांचे दुरितांचे तिमिर जाओ विश्व स्वधर्म सूर्य पाओ जो जेवांची तो ते लाओ प्राणी जात वर्षत सकळ मंगळी ईश्वर निष्ठांची मांदियाळी अनवरत भूमंडळी भेट तू भूता चला कल्पतरूंचे आरव चेतना चिंतामणीचे गाव बोलते जे अर्णव पियुषांचे चंद्रमे जे अलांछना मार्तंड जे तापहीन
किरण हे ना कनेक्ट
हे
करायचं
सर्वाही सदा सज्जन सोय रे
का चांगलं होतं ते उलट
किंबहुना सर्व सुखी पूर्ण होनी तिन्ही लोकी भजिजो आदि पुरुषी अखंडित आणि ग्रंथोपजीविये विशेषी लोकीये दृष्टादृष्ट विजये होवे येथ म्हणे श्री विश्वेश्वराव हा होईल दान कसा येणे वरे ज्ञानदेव सुखिया जा सुखिया जा सुखिया जा धन्यवाद. Now over to Prashant Darve. Thank you.
Thank you, Atul. We welcome all of you once again for our today's program, and we welcome Preeti Joshi, Dr. Preeti Joshi, who is our guest speaker today. A brief intro about Dr. Preeti Joshi. Dr. Preeti Joshi is head of school in liberal arts, head of school performing arts, PhD coordinator, liberal arts, program head English, faculty of liberal arts, fine arts, media and journalism at MIT World Peace University, Kothurud, Pune. She holds PhD in language and communication. She is a recipient of many awards. Few of the awards awarded with Certificate of Merit in Conference of International Journal of Arts and Science in association with University of London in November 2017. Awarded with Sessions Best Presentation Award and Best Student Research Paper Award for presentation entitled Journey of English Language, Linga France to Lingu Shrunka in the session of Linguistic and Multilingual Studies in the International Conference and Arts and Humanities Colombo in association with Northern Colorado University, USA in 2014. Dr. Preeti Joshi is lifetime member of Center for Contemporary Indian Studies, briefly known as CCIS, University of Columbia. Published a research reference book in English language titled Lingu Shrunka of Modern Communication. This was published in January 2017. She has in her a great synergy of academics and leadership skills, which makes her a favorite among students and her colleagues. Once again, welcome Dr. Preeti, and over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Yes, Preeti, you can share your screen.
Yes, I'm doing that. And before that, I want to say something, but once I'll share the screen, then I'll start.
Okay.
Is it visible to you all?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll start now. First of all, thanks a lot. Pasaidan really created an ambience, very positive ambience, and there can't be better beginning of any webinar than this. It's really very, very wonderful. Kinikar sir, thanks a lot for that. And going ahead, Prashant Darbe sir, he introduced me in such a wonderful way that it took me back to the memory lane when I did my PhD, then conferences, visit to Colombo University, then member of CCIS Study Center, University of London Union. There, when I received my merit scholarship, then writing, like nights I like spent in writing articles. So it's just flash in front of me. Thanks a lot, Prashant Darbe sir, for that. Such a wonderful introduction. Thank you for inviting me. Now I'll begin my presentation. So before I begin my presentation, I would say that always when we begin in the class, when we talk to students, when we talk to participants, it's like one-to-one conversation. We talk to them face to face. So it was easy for us to, like, it's free flowing like a river. But here I could say that being online platform, this PPT, that might create hindrance for me. It's an obstacle. So I'll go ahead with the pointers which is given by PPT and try to give my best, whatever is there related to my topic, liberal arts and global communication. So first slide here, you can see the topic which is written here, liberal arts education and global community. So this pandemic, COVID-19, that is really unprecedented situation for all of us, and for 60 days or more than that, it is affecting humans all over the world. But at the same times, it is.
Preeti, sorry, can you just put it on full screen? If you don't
Yes,
mind?
I was about to say that. Please put it on full screen. Yeah,
Is it fine now?
perfect. Perfect.
Okay, I'll go ahead. This is the first slide of mine where it talks about liberal arts education global community. And we can see that pandemic COVID-19 that has created havoc everywhere. This is very unprecedented situation we all are facing. And many humans are getting infected day by day because of this coronavirus. But I could say that at the same time, language is also getting affected due to coronavirus. I feel that, is it getting corona positive? So answer is absolutely yes. Because so many new words are coined, so many like terminologies are coming up, like corona, covidians, then WHF, acronyms, blending words. So many new words have been added to the dictionary, and that is gift of coronavirus or COVID-19 to language, I think. So it is a rare opportunity for lexicographer to see that few words like COVID-19, corona, pandemic, these words are like exponentially increase in the use of those words within a rare time span, very limited time span. And they are dominating the global discourse. So we can say that these words are trending, and they are becoming current trends. Here you can see that in PPT I have just put some pointers where it shows that these are current trends. So it's a blended word, quarantine and trending words. So these words are becoming current trends, and it has given us a new lingo, new language. And that language, that from lampoon lyrics to we can say that entertaining eats. So humor had joined to fight COVID-19 with all of us. Why I'm talking about language change, and how a language is changing, that's because I just want to talk about one example, language and communication. I'm going to use it as an example, analogical example, for explaining two more words which are coming in presentation. They are knowledge and education. So first analogy what I'm going to give you now, that is language and communication. So man being social animal, he wants to live in the society, wants to be the part of society, and that is then communication becomes the basic need of human beings. So if you go in the past and see that like so many communication theories are there, how it started. So initially when man started living in the society, he started with gestures, facial expressions, then body language, glottal sounds. It started with that, but communication itself gave birth to language. So we can see here communication that takes the front seat, and language is just one of the tools, and it kept on changing. If you see like language of your grandparents or great grandparents, you must have heard, this is the like a common situation everywhere. When we talk to them, say, what kind of language you are using? हमारे टाइम में तो ऐसा नहीं था, आपकी लैंग्वेज तो बिल्कुल ही अलग है. So their language is also noticeably different from us. If you go back and see like 16th century literature, you all must know Shakespeare, one of the best well-known figure in literature. So if you start reading his plays or dramas, you'll get to know that that language you'll find it really difficult to understand. Though it's just 16th century or related language. If you go back 14th century, then it's Chaucer's language. Chaucer is called as father of English language. And if you read his literature, his language is really very difficult to understand. Very few words will be able to understand and comprehend. So that language is really very difficult or different from today's language. I won't say good, bad or something, but that was different for sure in 14th century. And if you all dare enough to go back in the history and see that language of King Alfred belongs to 9th century. You barely believe that his English language is that much different from today's language. So change, it's yes, very much possible. Language, that is the tool that we are using, but its face is changing, how it is used. The language used in 9th century and the language which we are using now. So change, it's a spice of life, and like constancy only is strange. We can see that nature's law that believes in change, so constancy, that's the only thing which remains strange. So nothing is constant. So we can see that human beings also grow old, tadpoles turn into frogs, milk turn into cheese or curd. Then why language should be an exception for this? At the same time, anything in the universe kept on changing. I won't say what is good, what is bad or right, wrong. Here I would mention one very famous quote given by Robert Hall Jr., very famous linguist, and he said that there is nothing right and wrong in the language. There is no correct, incorrect in the language. There is no good and bad in language. There is speech and there is writing. Speech is primary. It means that communication, that's more important than anything else. So communication takes the driver's seat, and language is just one of the tools which kept on changing. And the same thing is about, which is applicable to knowledge and education. And for that I have given this analogy: knowledge that takes the driver's seat, and at the same time education system, they are just tools. One of the tools, we can say education system is one of the tools to gain the knowledge. There are very many other ways are there through which we can gain knowledge, but now the very dominant system which is spread across the world to gain knowledge, that is called education system. So if you see the old education system, current education system, and the changing scenario of education system is changing, we are just changing the tool. But what remains constant, what is more important, that is knowledge. So here I'll give you one like a short story. I'll tell you about importance of knowledge, how knowledge is important. There was a I'll say that there was a giant marine engine and it failed. It was not working, and ship owners were in trouble. They wanted to start it as early as possible. So they called up so many experts, so many people. They tried on their own to fix the marine engine, but they couldn't do so. And the machine was stuck. Engine was stuck. Ship was not moving at all. And they were very desperate to start that ship again. So engine should be fixed. Engine should be repaired. And finally, they saw one old man who came with a small briefcase to the engine to repair the engine. Looking at him, they thought it's better if he'll be able to fix the engine. And if you see his qualification, that he used to work with his father since his childhood in repairing marine engines. So that was the only qualification of him. But he had that experience of fixing machines. So they all believed that, at least this person would fix the engine. So as soon as that old man came, he directly went to the engine. He examined engine thoroughly, up and down, here and there. He checked it thoroughly, and again went back to his toolkit. It was in a small briefcase. He went to it. He just picked up one small hammer and went back to engine again. He went to the one part of engine, examined it again, and he tapped with that hammer at one place of engine. And what a miracle. Engine lurked into life. It came back to life, and engine started, and ship started moving. So those owners, they were surprised, they were taken aback. Such an old person without any degree, without any qualification, but still he did it, did this job in a miraculous way. So they asked for the payment, what is the amount to be paid. This old man wrote a note and gave it to them. The bill is about $10,000. Again, it was a shock for marine owners. They said that, oh my God, just tapping with the hammer and that's to $10,000. Why should we pay it? Then they asked him to give us itemized bill. So item wise, what items you used and how you can claim $10,000. So what this person did, this old man, again very quietly took a paper, wrote a note on it, again submitted it to the engine owners, and it was written that on that paper, tapping with a hammer that cost $2, and knowing where to tap with that hammer cost $9,998. Yes, efforts are important, but where to put those efforts, that's more important, and that is given by knowledge, and that is the capacity of knowledge. So yes, knowledge is everything in our life. You gain it in the way you want. It can be through education system, it can be through anything, but gaining knowledge is important. So what tool we are using now for gaining knowledge, for gaining tools, that is education system. So changing education system, it doesn't mean that I won't say something is good, something is bad, but changing doesn't mean that we are doing something wrong or we are not following the traditional way, so we will not be able to fulfill the requirement of the time or requirement of that movement. So it's not at all, it's not like that at all. We need to understand we are adopting new ways, we are adopting new approaches which are very much related to present scenario, present generation. So education, definitely it gives us life skills, it gives us so many other skills, knowledge, which will help us for the betterment of our lives. So knowledge is really very important, and that is gained nowadays through education system. So if you study education system, as we talked about language, how it is present, how present language scenario is, how it was in the past, and how it was in the very old era. So in the same way, when we talk about education, we don't have to go back and see how education system was earlier, but we can compare current education system and forthcoming education system. What is the difference is that? So we can say that current education system, you all know that we have our kids, or so many kids we see around, there is watertight compartment we can see in education systems. I'll go to the next slide. That is okay, not here. Okay, there are we can say that compartments are there. This is art, this is commerce, this is science, but liberal arts, it's liberating education system. It is going beyond the traditional system, whatever we are using now. When I was going through what is liberal arts and reading about liberal arts, because MIT World Peace University started this course this year, this academic year 2021, but we were searching, we were studying a lot, and survey research work was going on since last 5 years, 4 to 5 years, and this is the outcome. Today's liberal arts course which we are providing to the students, that's the outcome of all efforts which we poured out for 4 to 5 years. So when I was doing research on that, I came across a very good statement, very good quote by one person. He aptly described what liberal arts education is. So I'll just read that quote for you. Here you'll get everything clear what exactly liberal arts education is. So instead of focusing on who said this, what is said, that is more important for all of us. I think it is said that liberal arts education, yes, it focuses on academics, but it also introduces students to the pleasures of debate and the ever expanding world of ideas. It opens the doors, enables the mind to go wherever it wants in pursuit of knowledge and understanding. It bends towards openness instead of containment. So here this quote absolutely tells you that liberal arts, it itself is liberal in nature. Now whatever courses we are studying, they are very confined to the what we can say, confined to the specific domain, specific discipline. But liberal arts, it widens horizon of all students. If you want to aptly describe this approach of liberal arts, you can say that cafeteria approach. See, regular system, whatever education system we are using now, we can say that it's like a thali system. Maharashtrian thali, this is pitla, bhakri, chutney, and these many things are available. So no other thing you will go ahead with. So same is the case with education also, current education system. this is the course and you need to go ahead with those many subjects only. You can't add anything on your own. If you want to add it, then you go for one more course or additional course, some other institute or in the same institute, but under one basket, under one roof, you'll not be able to get that. But liberal arts is a cafeteria approach, you can say that. So many things are arranged there. You just need to pick up the things as per your choice, as per your interest. For example, if I'm interested in political science, yes, I'll take subject or course from political science. And along with that, I'm interested in performing arts. I'm interested in Kathak. So I'll go for Kathak. I'll select one subject from Kathak. And at the same time, I'm very interested in psychology. So I'll pick up from psychology, one course from psychology. Then I'll see that what is complementing to psychology. Nowadays, we can see that yoga, meditation, or dance movement therapy. These are the courses which are complementing a lot to psychology. So I would say that if I'm doing psychology, why should I not go for those courses? So immediately I can put up those courses also, and I'll create my own dish. I'll create my own structure of my program. And that exactly is available in liberal arts. And here it is said that pleasures of debate and ever expanding world of ideas. So in liberal arts, we don't follow, or no one follows, especially instead of we, I'll say that each and everyone who follows liberal arts approach, it's not like pen paper method or traditional approaches are followed. All aspects of education have been liberated. It may be pedagogy, it may be assessment, it may be syllabus structure, it may be student teacher ratio. Everything, whatever parameters are applicable for education, all these parameters are liberated from, I can say that, clutches. That would be little harsh word to say that, but clutches from like a stereotype or traditional education. Yes, anything is there, or should I go ahead? I heard somebody saying, is there any question or any doubt or something, or should I
Go ahead, Preeti.
No, continue.
Okay, thank you. So this exactly is the liberal arts, and beauty of liberal arts lies over here. So liberating everything, whatever parameters are there, we are putting new dimensions to it, and it's available, it's created in liberal arts, we can say that. So before we talk about like other parameters or other aspects of liberal arts, we need to understand what is current education system. And for this, I don't think I have to like pay much efforts, or I don't have to put much efforts talking about current education system. We all know that our kids or our neighborhood, so many kids are there who are taking education, school education, college education, UG, PG. So many things are available in education system. So many courses are available. But if you look at that, they are very, very discipline specific again. After 10th, we need to decide our stream, whether I want to go for arts, whether I want to go for commerce, whether I want to go for science. Once you go for commerce, the doors for science and arts are closed for you. If you go for science, you won't be able to see the aesthetic part of literature. That you need to keep aside. You can't combine as per your choice. As I told you earlier, that liberal arts, it allows you to do so. But here in current education system, you are stuck. Once you take arts, once you take commerce, then for arts, you say that humanity subject or it's related to art, then you need to lose your lose your connect with science, like physics, chemistry, mathematics, logic, aptitude. So that should be left aside when you go for arts. When you go for commerce, you play with numbers. Then finance, management, accounts, those things will come up. But you lose your touch for the aesthetic part of literature, psychology, political science. You are losing on that part. At the same time, you'll be losing on basic sciences also. Same is the case with science, then you'll be losing all other things. So it's really very discipline specific. We are just confining students to, like, it is like horse with the blinds. You need to go, this is your direction, you need to go ahead, you can't see here and there. So overall development or comprehensive education, that doesn't take place in today's scenario. That way I feel. I have no right at all to say that what is right, what is wrong. Again, I'll say that this education system, current education system is not good, or this liberal arts education which is coming up, that is good. No, I won't say that. Each system has its own pros and cons. So we need to decide what exactly I want to do in my life. So that opportunity in current education system, we fail to understand, because you can you can imagine 10th standard student who is just coming out from his cocoon, how will be able to see that? See, he has not tested anything. He has not tested basic sciences in true sense, because whatever we learn till 10th standard, they all are basic. So it's like we are touching upon some of the areas from all the subjects. But in true sense, we have not realized what those subjects are. Unless and until I study that, unless and until I see it, how will I be able to make the decision? And sometimes we make decisions which proves wrong. That's why I have seen that people who are struggling till age of 40 to get or settle down in their career or settle down in their job. Some people say that I have done ENTC, but I'm doing in software engineering. Then why to spend 4 years of your life, like precious years of your life, which like in studying or in understanding what you don't like, what you are not interested in? So liberal arts here, it gives you an opportunity to test the subject. So that foundation courses are there. I'll talk about that later, because this is a slide of current education system, and as I said, I need to stick to the slide because of dearth of time, and I need to complete it within given time span. So you must have understood that why I'm saying so. It's very much discipline specific. You need to take one dish, you need to go ahead with that. You'll not be able to see what's happening outside of it. So watertight compartments are there. You cannot flow. And if you want to flow, you need to invest, or you need to engage more years of your life in that. For example, I have done my 12th till 12th, I have done my arts education in arts, and I want to go for science. Again, I need to go back to 11th standard and start it again. Then why this is so? So exactly that is the flaw, or what we can say, that is a defect in current education system. And very much traditional approach we follow when we talk about pedagogy, when we talk about assessment. Very traditional approach. For years and years we do follow the same approach. So 60 to 80 students are there in the class. A teacher comes and she pours out what she knows. And here we are more syllabus oriented. We don't even think that 80, 60, 90, whatever students are there in the class, do they have same capacity? Do they have same liking? Do they have same capability of understanding? Then how can we apply same thing? They might not be like-minded. Those people, as I said, because of discipline specific nature of education, they might be there in the class, they might not have got the opportunity to go out of it. So these are not like-minded people which are there in the same class. So it's very difficult to give them the best of the subject. So it's very challenging for the teacher, and teacher uses very stereotyped methods because they don't have that opportunity to go out of it, because handling so many students, that becomes very, very challenging, and that too of different categories. So that traditional approach really mars I think current education system. But in liberal arts the situation is very different. Any liberal arts education system, if you see, the class limit is not more than 15. And that is the first thing we do. People say that was that 15 students only. Yes, 15 students, and that to like-minded students, because they have opted that course. It's their choice to opt that course. We don't force them. This is science, these are 3 subjects, you need to go ahead with that. No. They select, yes, I want to go for psychology and I want to go ahead with this project work. So it's their choice. Willingly they have come to that course. So it helps teacher to impart the best to them, best ever knowledge of that subject to them. So that is, I think, advantage of liberal arts education. At the same time, as I said, teacher comes in the class, teaches and pours out everything, whatever she knows, and she doesn't understand the perspective of students. Liberal arts, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in that way. Teacher gives full liberty to students, and it is multifaceted learning. Liberal arts is multifaceted learning. Here, we encourage students to go for more than one perspective, and we do also encourage them to understand others' perspective even if they don't agree with that. So it's really very important and useful to be taught at school level or at college level, or itself, I'll say that in the education system, it should be taught to the student how to be multi-skilled, how to be multifaceted. And that exactly is done in liberal arts education, which is not available. I'm so sorry to say this, but which is 100% absent, I won't say that, but it is least focused upon in traditional education system. Then next, least focus on learning life skills. So that word is gone, I think, from syllabus, curriculum, anywhere. You don't see this life skill. It is taken granted that we all are what superhuman beings, and we all know everything. It's not possible at all. Now, pandemic, COVID-19, this pandemic situation must have shown you that how life skills are important. People who are living alone or single, who are single. So how to cook, how to put oven, how to bake the cake, or how to bake vegetables, that becomes challenging. So now here we get to know that how life skills are important, and in liberal arts education more focus is given on life skills. So how to go in the bank, or see these things. I'm just giving very small or very like base level examples to you, so that each and every participant will be able to understand. That's why I'm not using any technical terminologies for all this, like we call it skill enhancement, ability enhancement, or so many categories are there, but I'm not using that. But I'm saying that simple things, very basic examples, we give it to students, and we make them understand what it is and how it can be done. And out of that, critical thinking, that is the most important skill that we try to deliver it to students. We try to imbibe that quality in students. So critical thinking, generally it is taught that it is taught through pedagogy. Students will learn that. How they will learn it? We need to show them. We need to make them understand. So what exactly is critical thinking? Now so many nomenclatures are there. It is said that it's a critical thinking or critical design thinking. So many words are there. But what does it mean? It makes student very confident. Whatever like a situation he must be in his life, I'm very sure that liberal arts student will stand out. Why? Because we teach them observation. Means observation, that is the skill. Yes, we need to teach it to the students. Observation, understanding, analysis, problem solving, and decision making. So whatever situation, we don't ask, अरे काय करू रे, और कसं करायचं हे, आता कसं होणार माझं. I don't say 100% students will acquire those, but still we try to push for it. We give it to them so that they'll start, that process will start, and by the time as he grows in his life, he'll be able to take his own decision, and he'll be confident human being in his life. So liberal arts education system, it focuses more on meaningful life, I would say that. See, academically, current education system also, we have we'll get very excellent professionals, but once one person, a professional, very excellent professional, he should be at the same time good leader, good teammate, good friend, good husband or good wife. We can say that good parenting skills he must be having, and at the same time he'll be a good citizen of our democracy. So holistic development, that is the basic focus or basic aim of liberal arts education, and that I feel that in current education system somewhere it is lost. The last point is very little scope for customization of the program. It's very rigid. Already we have talked about that customization, why it is not possible in current education system, because they have their slabs, they have their windows. Once you enter in one window, you are not allowed to go to other window. That's it. We already have talked about it. But in liberal arts, it is horizon for you. It's all sprayed is there with you. You customize, you take your course, you take your subjects, and customize your own program as per your choice, as per your interest, and that too under one umbrella, that too under one basket. So that is the beauty, or that is the feature of liberal arts education, I feel that. So current education system, you must have understood that how it is, and now I'll tell you that why and what liberal arts. These are the two questions. Actually, 5 W's are there: why, when, what, how. So many things are there, but we'll focus only on what and why, because how that you all can explore how you can go ahead with liberal arts and all. But what is liberal arts and why should we go for liberal arts? That's the most important part that we need to understand today. So when I'm talking about when and what and why, already we have talked much about those pointers, but here I'm going to repeat those pointers. So liberal arts education, what is it? As I said, it provides multifaceted view of the world to the students. It provides students with a broad knowledge of wider world. It may be science, culture, social sciences, society. So many things are there. So so many subjects are there, and those all will be the part of liberal arts education. But it doesn't mean that they don't go ahead with any specialization. If I'm learning psychology, if I'm learning political science, dance, drama, or something, it doesn't mean that I don't go ahead with any specialization. Yes, there is specialization. Along with those specializations, you can go ahead with complementary subjects too. So that's why that's why it's liberal arts. That's why it is called as liberal arts, and that is available in liberal arts education. This is an approach. Liberal arts education is an approach to learning that empowers individual and prepares them for complexities, diversities, and change in their lives. Two important words, I would say, that very much applicable to liberal arts education. Whenever you talk about liberal arts education all over the world, you'll see that two important words are there. That is multidisciplinary in nature and interdisciplinary in approach. Multidisciplinary in nature means what? They learn psychology, political science, English, managerial skills, or so many subjects they'll be learning. But at the same time, how to connect them, that is taught in liberal arts. You can take an example of a car. You can take example of a car running latest technology car. For example, we can say that automatic cars without manual gears. So now artificial intelligence plays very important role in car system. We know that so many like features are there in the car which are based on artificial intelligence. So when we talk about car, it is automobile, it is mechanical engineering, it is computer engineering. So many disciplines are put up together. So many domains are there. So car is an outcome of mixing of all these domains. So exactly that's what taught in liberal arts. That's why liberal arts student will be preferred to any other students, because it will have multifaceted view of his domain. Again, I'll give you an example of psychology. If I'm learning psychology, it's all about mind, it's all about mental health. So how to like improve mental health? Yoga, it's complementing to it. Meditation, again, it's complementing to it. Music therapy, it's complementing to it. Performing arts, it's though these are different domains, but they contribute towards understanding the specialization or a base subject or common subject, that is psychology. So that exactly is about liberal arts education. So multidisciplinary in approach, so many things are available, but interdisciplinary in nature, it means that how to connect those domains together, that is taught here in liberal arts. And as I said, it like amalgamation of all those things, it gives them comprehensive education which was absent, which point I thought which is not available in current education system. So comprehensive education, that is liberal arts education. We always think, or we always focus on holistic development of child. So all aspects of human mind or human personality are taken into consideration when liberal arts education syllabus is designed. We think about their physical fitness, then psychology, then we think about their academics. So we feel that person should be physically fit, mentally alert, and spiritually elevated. So all these things should be there in liberal arts education. Then only it will be called as liberal arts course. So physical fitness, mental alertness, and spiritual aspects, all these components should be there, and so that students will become we can say that multi-skilled person, or multi-perspective person, the person which will be having multiple perspectives. That way, that is the that's why liberal education. Then one more point is here, we can see that teachers at liberal arts education teaches students to become lifelong learners who are their own base teachers. It enables them to make intellectual risks and think laterally, to understand how the humanities, the arts, and the sciences inform, enrich, and affect one another. By connecting diverse ideas and themes across academic disciplines, liberal arts students learn to better reason, analyze, and express their creativity and their ideas. Because it gives freedom to students to think out of the box. We don't say that this is the law, you need to follow it. No, you try to understand this is the law, whether it is right, wrong, whether you agree with that or not. So that's why when we read that given by the one German person, he said that it gives them chance to debate. It means that they can challenge, they can express themselves. They don't hesitate. I have problem understanding this, or I don't agree with this. So they always have given a chance to think out of the box. They are a bit I won't say they'll be rebellious in nature, but they'll always verify the situation. They'll, before accepting anything, they'll check it and then they'll go ahead. Now this quality will be increased by the by. We won't say that liberal arts person has taken liberal arts education and now he is very well 100% all these skills are available. No, these are the skills which we try to imbibe in them. By the by they grow in their life. Definitely those skills will help them to make their life better, make their life meaningful. So liberal arts education, it readies students for job market and at the same time rewarding them a meaningful life as a citizen of democracy. As I said, we prepare them job ready, but at the same time liberal arts education rewards them with a meaningful life to become a very good citizen of this democracy. Now when we complete education or any course on any program, the next point comes in our mind, that's always job opportunities or career aspects. What I can do after this. So I feel that education should, or degree should provide them an opportunity to get more than one job. They should not rely only on one thing. So liberal arts education does the same thing. They make them job ready, but at the same time multiple skills they'll be acquiring, so multiple job opportunities will be there for those students. Here I'll give you one example that's anyway going to come ahead in presentation. One survey was done by One institute from Canada, and it shows that more than 40,000 students who have done BA history under liberal arts, those students have been placed in multiple areas, multiple jobs. Some are there in marketing, some are there in finance, some are there in administrative office, and that exactly liberal arts want. So though you are getting specialization in one subject, still your scope for job that is wider and wider in liberal arts. So career scope, what is the career scope for liberal arts? As I said, college should do more than a student get a one job. They should do more than that. So then how it can be done? See, when we talk about job or when you apply somewhere, degree plays very important role. What degree you have? For example, if I have done PhD English language and PhD, if I feel that I want to go to the industry and I want to do a job, or in any corporate houses, if I go and want to pursue for a job, obviously my qualification matter. What qualification you have? So if you have done this, it means that you are suitable for this job, XYZ. So they limit ourselves to the degree whatever we are taking. So I think this decade or since past 2 decades, we can see that college degree, value of a college degree has it has greater value than ever. Higher education is now very essential. Higher education degree is very essential now for getting a job. And liberal arts education, when person knows that, any employer knows that he is or she is a liberal arts student, it is taken granted that they'll be have wider knowledge of different domains. So liberal arts education, it increases their employability by combining degree with knowledge and skills in a specific career field such as marketing, sales, business, graphic design, data analysis, computer management, IT, or anything. Liberal arts degree also makes you well suited for several industries. As I mentioned, it can be IT, it can be computer engineering. Why? Because liberal arts education teaches students. Liberal arts education teaches students how to think critically, how to research thoroughly, and how to write well. And I think these are the qualities which will be valued by any employer. So they'll be most sought after employees in future for sure. Then liberal arts education also builds successful careers successful careers in various fields, not only in their domain knowledge or specialization, but apart from that, many other domains are open for all of them. But again, I would say that liberal arts don't pay much. I wouldn't don't pay. That would be very difficult to say. But I would say that what I can say. Financial gain, I would say that financial gain or successful career, these are just the parts of whatever values we teach in liberal arts education. But the real growth of person or student is not measured in rupees, but in a meaningful life what they lead. Again, I'll here say that successful life or happy life, contented life, confident life, that is the Dain, that is the what we boon or Dain of liberal arts. In Hindi we say that this is the Dain of something. So liberal arts, this is gift of liberal arts to the students, how to live a meaningful life, because they train them in that way. And holistic development, as I said, two important words are there for liberal arts: multidisciplinary in nature and interdisciplinary in approach. And the third important pointer in liberal arts education, that is holistic development of a child. So job opportunities, if you say, yes, definitely multiple job opportunities are available after liberal arts education, and that's for sure. Now we have talked about how the current educational system and how liberal arts education is. So we have seen also how they are different from each other, and how like wider perspective is given through liberal arts education. So worldwide, how liberal arts education is, how it is received, and how much importance is given to this kind of education, liberal arts education. I'm happy to say that liberal arts education is accepted worldwide. It's accepted enormously worldwide. The example of this I would give you, saying that 30% of the total credits which you earn should be gathered from liberal arts courses. That is mandatory in some of the universities in US and European countries. So it indicates that how important liberal arts is, whether student is from technology background, whether student is from law background, whether student is from arts background. Any student who is learning from that university, who is getting degree, or who is doing program in that university, any specific university, that university makes it mandatory for those students to earn 33% of their total credits from liberal arts. It shows the importance of liberal arts, that's for sure. We now see that liberal arts education is very popular among European countries, Western countries, but in India also nowadays we can see that that has become a buzzword. Each and everyone talks about liberal arts, and I think liberal arts has given different weightage to arts segment. If you see current education system, I can see that like there is clear division: art, science, elite class, then commerce, and arts. Whoever goes for example, he doesn't get admission in science or commerce, that's why he comes to the arts. So that way arts was always elite, and science was always elite class. But liberal arts education has changed the scenario enormously. It has changed the scenario. Why this has happened? This has happened because of globalization. I feel that because we are global citizens, global as well as local at the same time. Simultaneously we are performing two roles: global citizen as well as local citizen. And because of globalization, the need is created for individuals with wider approaches to any field. It may be science, technology, communication, arts, or even academia. So wider approaches are available due to globalization, I feel. And liberal arts education, it enables students to pursue their interests beyond traditional subject boundaries, traditional or what we can say specialization. Beyond that, so much is provided through liberal arts. And because of multidisciplinary nature and interdisciplinary approach, they become multi-skilled dynamic individuals who have multidisciplinary knowledge and can apply their skill across the domains. So that exactly is the worldwide scenario of liberal arts. It is already established approach in European countries or Western countries, but it is establishing itself in Indian scenario or Indian education system too. So this already I have told you that multiple opportunities are available for the students when they pass out from liberal arts, though they get degree in one subject, multiple domain career scope is available for them. So whatever we have learned about liberal arts education and how it stands in global scenario, these are the pointers, and this is like a quick review what we have learned or what we have understood about liberal arts education. So liberal arts education, again I would say that it's not very new concept, or it's not very it is not recent or latest approach which is used in education system. It is age old. Since Buddha's time it is used. If you see the era of kings and queens, that time also education was very liberal. We could see that at the same time, like they used to learn history, they used to learn Vedas, they used to learn war strategies, they used to learn administration. So all, like, it was all inclusive. So that time, like it might have been called in different way, different nomenclature might be there, but now the same system or same education system has come up with new vigor and broader approaches, and we call it liberal arts. Even new educational policy of Union Government of India, which emphasizes liberal arts education, they are also trying to make to earn credits or mandatory liberal arts education courses mandatory for other programs also. It is not yet passed, but it is coming in that way. So government is also emphasizing more on liberal arts education nowadays, we can see that. And as we talked about liberal arts education title, as its title suggests, it is breaking watertight compartments of traditional education system and coming up with broader horizons. Again, it is interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary approach. Now this term is very new. We have talked about multidisciplinary approach, multidisciplinary in nature, interdisciplinary approach, at the same time transdisciplinary also. So this is new terminology, this is new concept which is coming up, transdiscipline. So interdiscipline, okay, we know that, but what is transdiscipline? Now it's your task to understand, to find out after this presentation what is transdisciplinary and how it is useful in our lives. So that is also taught, or that is also taken care in liberal arts education. As we talked about, there is enormous scope for customization of your program. What subjects I want to go ahead. For example, my hobby is dancing, so I want to dance, I don't want to leave it. And at the same time I want to study mass communication and journalism. These are not even closely related, distantly also they are not related, but here I get an opportunity to mix them. Like I'm studying mass communication journalism, but I'm enjoying my hobby also. I don't have to leave anything for my program. So my program offers everything, and students come up with 100% energy, and they give their 100% when they learn the subject of their choice. And this is the way, by providing them multiple options, multiple specialization, we get multi-skilled, multi-perspective, multi-dimensional leaders. Here I have used this word leaders. Why? Because they do know what they want, where they want to go, and how they'll be performing their life. So they become leaders of their own lives. That's why I said they become multi-dimensional leaders. So again, the same thing, whatever we have learned, this is the gist of it. In a very in a very compact way, it is presented before you, going beyond traditional disciplines. Now when I say traditional disciplines, arts, commerce, science, that's fine, but apart from that, so many new theories are coming up, so many. Just I heard before this presentation started, someone was talking about one subject, I forgot it's the name of that subject. One lady was there, she talked about that. So such kind of subjects are also introduced in this. Can anybody tell me what was that subject? I think Jayanti ma'am was talking about that. She attended one course or something. Okay, let it be. But like music, dance movement therapy, that's very new, very contemporary, we can say. So this course is also available in liberal arts. So we go beyond. We don't say that these are the subject, these are the only subject which will be taught in liberal arts. We go beyond that. We see that what is happening in the society, what is more relevant to the present, and that everything has been included in liberal arts. Then taking a holistic approach to student development. As I said, holistic development, that is the focus of liberal arts education. So holistic development, we talk about meditation, we talk about mind, we talk about physical fitness, we talk about academics. But nowadays I have seen that some people, when they say that you need to do yoga, yoga is compulsory course for you, or meditation course you need to go ahead, that also is the foundation or compulsory course, they're a little skeptical about it. They say, what, why meditation, why yoga? And sometimes I have seen that people relate it to religion, and that's not right at all. Meditation plays very important role in our life, and we need to go ahead. That is one of the components of critical thinking also. So meditation is very important. Here I'll give you one example of meditation. When Gautam Buddha ji, because meditation and Gautam Buddha, that's synonymous, we can say that, because so many things we have learned from him, and meditation is one of them. So when one disciple of him asked Gautam Buddha ji, what have you gained through meditation? So Gautam Buddha ji was very quiet, very calm, and he gave an answer. He said, no, I didn't get anything, but I lost anger, depression, anxiety, and fear of old age and death. So that is the power of meditation. We need to understand that. So all these approaches, all these components are involved in liberal arts education, which prepares for holistic development of a child. Even we prepare students for lifelong situations. As I said, life skills are taught to them. They'll be asked to go in the real life situations and problem solving situations. They'll go ahead with case studies, and for that we can go ahead with rural immersion programs. They can go in the villages, they stay there, they see their lives, and they see what problems are faced by them, or what good things are there in villages. We always don't ponder or focus upon problems. We always see that how the systems are. Somewhere you'll see the system 100% smooth flowing system, and somewhere you'll say there are some flaws. Then what are the reasons behind it, how it can be solved? So any liberal arts students will not go ahead only with a problem. He'll always go ahead with the solution. So always it is taught that when some problem is there, we need to seek for solution at your level. You need to see that what can be the solutions for this problem. So we prepare themselves for real life situation in liberal arts education. Then developing individuals with diverse skill sets. Why? Because multiple domains are there, multiple subjects are available in that. So obviously they become multi-skilled people, multi-skilled and multifaceted. We can say that multifaceted view they'll be having about the world. Developing critical thinking, again the same, I would say that that is one of the most important component. I always feel that that should be taught separately as a subject. It should be taught how to observe things, how to analyze things, how to explain them, then how to go ahead with problem solving and decision making. All these things will be steps are there in critical thinking. Many more are there, but these are some simple 5 steps I have told you in critical thinking. So that should be developed, and student will get definitely benefited through this critical thinking quality in their lives for sure. Here, helping students to develop both personally and professionally into multifaceted individuals. Again, it comes to like multi skills. If you understand understanding domain knowledge and developing different skill sets, they are two different things. Skill sets, motor skills are there, or so many, as you must have learned in kindergarten, so many skills are there. So we need to understand where we are good at, and if we are not good at something, how that can be developed. So multiple skills are there. For example, public speaking, that is one of the skills. We need to understand. All will not be like expert in that, but how that can be developed. All might not be having flair of writing. How that skill will be developed? Reading, listening, writing, speaking, all these are the skills. Some of the skills I'm giving you as an example, but multiple skills are there. All these skills are taken into consideration here in liberal arts education. Majority of them are scattered in pedagogy or in syllabus or in assessment. Some other way they are incorporated in liberal arts education. newer modalities and strategies for teaching and learning. Already we have talked about the classroom is very limited, class is very limited, and it's not always within the four walls. Life, what we say, at real life situations also, like they'll be taken to, and there, with the self experience, things might be taught to them. So it's a innovative pedagogy, innovative assessment, innovative syllabus that is part of liberal arts education. So newer modalities and strategies have been adopted in liberal arts education. So this is what liberal arts education is. And coming to the last part of this, like I say, if you see liberal arts syllabus, like each and every parent or each and every student always want to see that what I'm going to see. So they need to understand. If I say that multiple subjects are available, but still they feel that multiple, then what are they? How they are divided? If I want to study 15 subjects, is it possible for that? If I want to go ahead with 3 only, is it possible? So there is a limit, minimum credits and maximum credits. If you do survey of multiple universities, you will be able to understand that. Here I'll be able to tell you or explain you the credit system or syllabus design for liberal arts school or liberal arts program for MIT World Peace University. Here around we go ahead with maximum 170 credits and minimum 120 credits. So 2-3 degrees are available in liberal arts, BA liberal arts or BA honors liberal arts too. So BA and BA honors, there is a difference. What difference is there? It's a difference of credits in your specialization. For example, if I'm learning English, then I'll be studying 8 to 12 papers in BA, but in BA honors, I need to go ahead with 18 subjects of the specialization. So that way degree differs. And this difference is based on the credits which you earn. So when you earn the degree of BA liberal arts, credits are around 120 to 139. But when you want to go ahead with BA honors liberal arts degree, it will be 140 to 170. Choice is yours. Then what courses are available? What subjects are available? So wide array of subjects are available. I would say that we under like MIT World Peace University umbrella, in one campus, more than 96 schools are there. Each school provides at least 3 to 4 courses. You can imagine that what a big basket will be having on the campus at a time. So students are exposed to all these subjects. Whatever subject they like, they can go for it. Accordingly, timetable is made. But to mention few of the subject, I would say that we have arts, performing arts, traditional courses like English, economics, political science, psychology. Then we have fine arts, managerial studies, languages like Japanese, German, Sanskrit. Then we do have computer courses, mass media, photography, you name it, that subject is available. So how it is designed? Yes, we have a basket available. But how we can carry it? All those subjects we cannot take and go ahead. So how basket will be filled up? So there are certain steps, we can say that, or certain divisions are there. How much you can take from one basket? So all these courses which you are seeing here, foundation courses, AECC, SEC, GE, means general elective, cluster electives, co-curricular courses, these are steps, these are baskets, and from those baskets, some credits you need to earn. Minimum, maximum, that is given on the website or anywhere you can find it out, what are the minimum credits and what can be the maximum credits. But you need to select the courses, minimum courses from each basket. And then only you will be able to get degree of BA liberal arts. Foundation courses, it creates foundation for you all. Like it can be philosophy, it can be ecology, ecological balance. Now global warming, that's really a very big threat for all of us. So basic courses, foundation courses, logic, aptitude, basic science, statistics, that is taught in foundation courses. Then ability enhancement courses, there we provide, these are compulsory courses, ability enhancement compulsory course we call it, and foundation compulsory course we have. So around 10 foundation courses are there which they need to complete in the very first year along with general electives, so they can test multiple subjects at the same time, and second year, second trimester onwards, they can go ahead with the subject of their specialization. So here for 1.5 years, we expose them to multiple subjects so that they'll be able to understand those subjects, what exactly is there in that subject, whether I'll be able to go ahead with that or not, or whether I have a liking for that subject or not. So he tests it initially, and then he decides whether to go for it or not. We are no hurry in getting specialization in the very first year for any liberal arts school. All liberal arts school first go ahead with foundation courses, ability enhancement courses, skill enhancement courses. For example, now it's a very digital world, techno savvy world. We need to be very techno savvy, well versed with very basic things regarding computer, how to make PPT, how to make Excel sheet, or so many components are there which are very basic, and we need to understand that. That is also taught in SEC, skill enhancement courses. Personality development, how to present yourself, that is also taught here in skill enhancement courses. Then we do have general electives where whatever specialization they want to go ahead, or they are thinking about those specialization, they can go ahead with general elective courses. For example, if I want to go for psychology, I may take psychology as general elective and test it and see it what exactly is there in psychology, or do I have inclination for that subject or not, do I have that flair of that subject or not. So that can be checked through general elective. The basket is very wide and open for all students. Then we have cluster electives. In cluster, in the sense, one cluster you need to select, and in cluster you need to go ahead with 3 to 4 subjects of the same cluster. So you can increase the cluster, but you can't say that one from one cluster, second from second cluster. No. Clusters, one cluster I'll explain you. Cluster of Kathak, Kathak 1, Kathak 2, Kathak 3, Kathak 4. So you need to go ahead with full one cluster. So you can go for multiple clusters also based on your choice, based on your availability. Then we have internship, we have social responsibility courses, we have project work, and compulsory internship for 3 months for 6 credits that is available here. We have floating credit also, those floating credits in making of portfolio, independent portfolio, how to prepare it. That's a very important thing we teach here at MIT World Peace University School of Liberal Arts, and that goes ahead with 1 to 8 credits. Then immersion programs, rural immersion, national immersion programs, national immersion programs are available where students go and stay there. They see what exactly the scenario, what exactly is the situation. So real lifetime experiences are given to students through immersion programs. And peace component, as I said, meditation, Vedic sciences, yoga, all these are very important components when you talk about overall development of a child. And that is done through peace courses in MIT World Peace University. And this is the basket of liberal arts. So I think I have given you brief picture, or it's a collage actually. You need to put all these pieces together and see it, how liberal arts education is. So that's it. I think this is all about liberal arts. And now this forum is open for question answers. If you have any question, any query, or any like any point you want me to explain again, I'll be happy to go ahead with. Thank
Yeah.
you. Over to you, Abhijit, and over to you, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I think I have taken more time than whatever was discussed. I'm so sorry for that. So sorry.
No, I think, Preeti, the subject is so vast that 1 hour is actually doing injustice to this topic. And I think we'll have a lot of concerned parents and people who would be interested in knowing more. So I have a few questions that have already been put forward, and I'm going to take one question at a time. The first question came from...
Yeah, ma'am, can you please start your video?
Sure, sir. Okay.
Yep.
So the first question is from Mr. Parag. Can we opt for dual specialization?
Yes, very much it is available. In liberal arts education, I would say that nothing is impossible. You tell it to us and it is available in any liberal arts institute. Only thing is that we need to see the reference, whatever they are having. For example, whether teachers are available, whether infrastructure is available, based on that. But if you talk about MIT World Peace University or majority of the liberal arts institution, yes, dual specialization is very much available. You can two different domains also, you can select a subject and go ahead with the specialization, basic sciences as well as performing arts. You can club them together and go ahead. That is very much possible in liberal arts.
Is there any restriction on combination of subjects?
Whatever subjects are available in the basket, as per, again I'll say that it's very much conditioned to
Right.
number of teachers available, like infrastructure, what kind of infrastructure available, and the resources available. Based on that, if it is available in the basket, definitely there is a scope.
Scope. Right.
And if demand is more, then that will be made available by the university. I believe so.
Sure, sure, absolutely. Then we
See,
have
there is
another. Yeah.
one minute, ma'am. Yeah,
Huh.
there is one question from Avinash and Avani. I don't know. They have written like that. Okay, what subject should I take in 11 to go ahead with liberal arts? So, which colleges in Mumbai offer the same?
I think I'm not the right person to talk about colleges in Mumbai, but the first part of the question I can answer that any stream you can go ahead, stream of your choice. Don't even think whether I'll be able to go for liberal arts with this degree or not. Any degree you get till 12th standard, any specialization you go for, liberal arts will accommodate you anyway. Liberal arts is liberal in nature. So if you go with science, commerce or arts, you are able or you are eligible to go ahead with liberal arts education, because this is undergraduate degree which starts after 12th standard. So whatever you learn till 12th standard, it's okay. Like, that is an additional advantage for you. For example, you need to see if you want to go ahead with a specialization like traditional courses in art, psychology or something, then arts will be better for you. If you want to go for basic sciences, if your hobbies if your liking is towards natural sciences, so obviously science is better. So it depends on you, your choice, your liking or your interest.
Right.
Ma'am, do you have any other
Yes,
questions?
yes, there are some. We have a question from Jyoti. Can we take this degree remotely?
Again, I would say that it is based on the university rules and regulation. Distant degree in liberal arts, I have not seen it anywhere. As per my knowledge, it is not available. At least in MIT World Peace University, we go ahead with regular degree. Distance education, it might be, but I doubt like how it can be provided. I have not done research on that, and I'll find it difficult, because today also I can see that I felt that I'm talking to myself. It's a kind of monologue to me. So I didn't see students, their happy faces or their brows frown or looking at teacher with a question mark on the faces.
Sure.
Something is looking at the mobile. So nothing. It was so quiet. I was so like, how can I go ahead with what points to cover up? So I went ahead, and I didn't notice the time also. So again, I'll say that always, if you talk about liberal arts, if you get regular degree, that's always preferred. But still, if you want to explore for that, definitely I'll also work on it, and I'll get back to you once I get the answer for this.
There's another very interesting one from Captain, and this is that every individual has a different personality. So how can we have a standard personality development course? He's just trying to understand that personality development courses are designed as per individuals, or this is a standard course.
Yeah, very good question. I would say that personality, each and everyone has different personality. So when you see personality development course, it's like a course structure, course basket syllabus. If you see, it is all inclusive. So it is like it is applicable to majority of the people. So yes, customization is done by the teacher as per the liking or inclination of the students. That is done at our school, or that is done at MIT World Peace University. When personality development course is provided to student, it is taken care that the inclination of the student and his personality, how it is and in what way it can be developed. So teachers, we have two teacher method, team teaching always we go ahead with. So it is very easy for us to cater the need of each and every individual. But when you talk about assessment, it is done togetherly. It is not very separate assessment. But teaching wise, if you say, yes, need of each and every person is taken into consideration, and then this course is available. And this is choice based course sometimes, but in our university it is compulsory course, so definitely we go ahead with that.
Right. Also, is there an upper age limit for admission into these courses? I mean, can like somebody like if I want to do it today, am I allowed?
See, basic qualification eligibility criteria we keep for student that is 12th pass, and they need to go ahead with our entrance or UGPATE. We say that it is 3-staged examination.
Yeah.
First of all, we go ahead with personality assessment. We don't say that personality psychometric test or something. No, it's not a test. It's
Right.
analysis of your personality, so we can see the basket in which you are fitting. So we make the groups of the students, as you said, personality development, what points or what what pointers to be given to the students. Based on that, it will be easy for us. So we go ahead with psychometric test, psychometric assessment, I would say that. Then we go for SOP, standard, we ask them to write an SOP, why they SOP, why do they want to come for like this course.
Statement of purpose.
Yeah, statement of purpose. So why do they want to come for this, and what are their likings, hobbies? We have our questionnaire. So they don't have to go with all questions, but out of those questions, whatever they feel right or whatever they feel comfortable, they can go ahead with that SOP. And then we go ahead with interview.
Okay.
Instead of interview, call it interaction. So through that also we get so many things, and we have 5 teachers panel for interaction with students, and we note down like how we can go ahead. So it's a personalized, we can say that set we prepare for the students who are selected. So age limit, if you see right now, I don't see any clause put up by the university for age limit. So I would request all of you, if you all are all allowed to come ahead, we'll be happy to take you as a student.
Because I wonder why we were not given these privileges when we were in college, because I was a very, very avid classical dancer, and then of course with college, and then as you pursue further, all these kind of things get left off somewhere. And now when you hear this, you feel like, wow, I wish I was born now, or maybe 15, 16 years ago.
We had that juggling. It is kind of jugglery we were playing, hopping from one class to other class, doing so many certificate courses, because we didn't get chance to get it under one roof.
Absolutely.
Liberal arts is really comes with
there is
that.
Priti, there is one question from Sachin. He says, I'm really not clear on the question. We want different degrees in schools in childhood. Mozambique in South Africa has such an education system. So I think he means to say that there are different degrees which you can really start from childhood itself. So have you come across any such education system?
Yeah, I think Jaya ma'am wants to say something, I think.
No, I think it's basically from secondary. A lot of schools do offer options of subjects. However, like Preeti has been saying, in India, we don't have those options. It's very basketed in India. And your views on it, Preeti, I think.
Yeah, as I said, education system is open. Like we can create it the way we want, whatever we find comfortable for the students, for the betterment of students. Anyway, education systems are. So all these things are very much possible if you see but the main problem with India, that is population. See, if schools are flooded with students, if you see, like we have only 30 people to get admitted for liberal arts, and we get more than 1,000 forms for that. So whom to get and whom not to get into this, that becomes the problem. And what about remaining students who really want to pursue this degree? So when you talk about such kind of education systems, we need to have a systematic arrangement of students, student-teacher ratio, infrastructure. So many things come into consideration when we talk about such different education systems. Now here, like it is like a sheep. Blindly we follow one thing, that's it. Whether you like it or not, whether you are fitting into it or not, you just follow it blindly, that's it. But that's very much possible what you said, because innovation, that's always appreciated in education system. So it can be possible, very much possible. Only conditioned with infrastructure, teacher-student ratio, and resources again.
We have one more question from Mr. Prajesh. Which is the best combination to go with English?
Okay. Multiple combinations are there. For example, if you want to write, see, in English also multiple options are available in career. You can be a copywriter, you can be commentator, you can be news anchor, you can be what we say, performer. Yeah, yeah, advertising.
Advertise.
Yeah, yeah. So many options are available. You need to see your inclination. So I feel, along with English, any subject will do, because English is basically, see, communication is the key of life.
Everything.
So for communication, English is required anywhere. You go corporate, if you go finance, if you go basic sciences, English can be combined with anything. It is like I say that it is a pillar of any system or any domain. So you just attach English to it, it will enhance your subject for sure.
Yeah, Dr. Preeti, like you said, like you rightly said, what is very important is to see the inclination of the kid,
Yes.
what is he inclined to. So that becomes a success story for him in that case.
Yes, and liberal arts really allows them to see their inclination, they explore, because I can see that it took me long time to understand what really I like. Because being like people said I'm scholar or something, I got good marks in academics, so I got national merit scholarship. Then I was like, doctor or engineer, only two options were there when I was studying in school and colleges, and the place from where I come from, like Batti Shirala, it's very small place. So I was not aware of all these options. MBA or management degrees are there, BBA is there, or BSc computer science, advanced computers, data science, whatever. Now the things are coming up, they were available that time also, but I was not aware of it. So doctor, okay, but when I started learning science, physics was my enemy, so I couldn't cope up with that. Then that moment only I decided whatever marks I'll get, I'm going to change it, because I had flair for English language and literature. So basically linguistics, that's my domain. I realized that morphology, phonology, or that magic of words, that really attracts me. So why should I not go with linguistics? So when I searched a lot for myself, I realized that I'm not a person for literature. I can go with the linguistics. And finally, after 12th standard, though I got good marks, 82% I got for my board examination, but I decided I'll go for literature, language and literature, English language, because that time only language was not available. So again, as I said, it's a very discipline specific that time also. English, that's it. So I didn't get, but when I came to Pune, I realized that Deccan College of Pune, which is located at Erevda, that college provides degree in linguistics, and there my journey started. Then I really got good support from teachers, and I started my research work and everything in English language and communication. So linguistics, that's my expertise, where I focus more upon. But I realized at very late age of my life, after spending so many years into something else.
So thank you, Preeti. I think it's already 8:27. We are dot on time. I hand over to Mr. Prashant Darbe to close the session. I think we don't have any more questions.
No.
So over to you, Mr. Prashant.
Before Prashant sir, before you go for conclusion, I just want to thank all of you. And here I could see so many good questions are coming up. And if any question I missed out, or because of dearth of time, which we couldn't get over here, or couldn't answer those questions over here, so I'll provide my mail ID. If they want to contact me, or some questions or queries are there, I'll be happy to answer all those queries and questions for all those students. And invite all of you to come to MIT World Peace University campus. It's really very tempting campus, very good campus. You must visit. So it is an invitation from MIT World Peace University for all of you. Do come to our university, do visit our campus, and definitely you come to School of Liberal Arts. And I really thank each and everyone. It was wonderful session. It was a monologue. I don't know. I have done it for the first time, going online and talking to myself. Even I was not looking at the screen. I was not able to see myself. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Preeti, for giving us the invitation. But we accept the invitation only on one condition.
Accepted, sir. Without knowing, accepted.
I hope you will not give us more homework there the way you have given it.
No,
you have already
definitely
given
not.
the homework for everyone to
Definitely
search.
not.
Okay, thanks a lot. It was again a wonderful session, and thanks to all our participants who has been participating for this series from day one. We encourage them to join all our series so that they get an idea on different subject, and out of that they can choose what is interesting for them, because all across we have noticed that interest is something which is coming up for the selection of appropriate subjects. So thank you, Dr. Preeti. And once again, thanks to GSES, thanks to Jaya ma'am for taking this session today. Thanks.
Prashant, I think
Samiti.
I see Samir there. Samir, are you there? Samir?
Yeah, we
Samir
can
is
see him. He's there. He's
Oh,
there.
thank you.
General Secretary
Thanks.
for GSS.
Namaste.
Oh, he was there. Okay, go ahead.
Obviously, this Thanksgiving cannot be closed without acknowledging Mr. Samir's presence. He has been
Samir, are you there?
But I think it's all about the wealth of knowledge that we are getting over here. I am no one, in fact. It was just so amazing to hear what she had said, and I echo a lot of things with what Jaya ma'am also said, that in case if the age was not a barrier, or perhaps we were born a little late, these opportunities are immense. So thank you, ma'am, for enlightening us with this. And Prashant sir, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Sam, I can see Captain also. So I think we have some of the great guns of GSS today on call. Captain Saab, can you just close within 2 seconds? Open your camera and close it.
Sir, to be very frank, I was so impressed with the whole talk, and my comment was obviously, apart from appreciating, the personality question was mine only. So I think we must thank the whole team, and thank you so much, ma'am. I think it's always good to learn new things, and this was new to me. Like she said, I am also from that era wherein it was only engineer or doctor, otherwise you are good for nothing. And now there is so much in life to do. So I think it's really a blessing. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Prashant.
Okay, so let's turn the clock back and go back to learning. So, Dr. Preeti, we all are coming now to MIT.
Sure.
Yes.
We'll be very happy to see you on the campus.
I had one suggestion, Dr. Preeti. If you could start a batch for slightly people like us, maybe you can have a separate session like IIM. Like IIM has started a batch for people who've retired from defense, etc. I don't know. Thought for y'all.
But you all look very young. Not retired kind of people. So definitely we can start a batch. We'll definitely think about it. Batch with younger than the students who are actually learning. So younger at mind, so younger at heart. Definitely we can start and we can think about it. Thank you.
We are only 20 years in a few months. The only thing we don't want to disclose those few months. That's all.
Right.
I think as Maitri Jivache as well as GSS, Samir, I can tell you, I've been to campus of MIT a number of times, and the Peace Center is something which we all should visit.
Yes.
We would love, I think, please convey our message to Dr. Karad and the management that as Global Association for Corporate Services, we have excellent team in Pune. We have more than 150 members. And we would love to come one day and visit you guys.
Yes, we always say that no peace, KNOW, no peace, no life. So you understand peace and you'll understand your life. And that's why it's MIT World Peace University. Major focus is on as I said, physically fit, mentally alert and spiritually elevated. So we always think about holistic development of a child.
Great. So thank you all. Thank you so much. We are signing off from this 18th episode of Maitri Jivache and GSS School of Excellence. Thank you. Good night.
So much.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Stay at home.
Thank you.
Thank you.